Nothing. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Bobby Mitchell here again with Conscious Community Media. Breakthrough to break free. Your purpose is our passion. Yes, we're excited about another episode to share with you. Part 2 of decisions, right? How important is decisions? Well, pretty much makes up your life. And we've got some great team members that are coming on board, some familiar faces that are going to share some nuggets and wisdom from their perspective, their experience. But before we get started, I just want to remind each of you that there's links below to follow each one of us to the Conscious Community Media family, to our closed Facebook group that you can join our community. And we're putting some great content in there too. Again, it's all free. We're not here. It's not about monetizing anything right now. We're here to help you not only discover your purpose, and many of you have already found your purpose and you're working daily, diligently towards it, and you're passionate about it. But many of you are sort of like maybe like I was early days, early years, that really was working hard, but really didn't have a true direction outside of wanting to graduate college, wanted to get a good job, wanted to have a good place to live, have a nice car, have some nice clothes. Nothing wrong with those things. But what we believe at CCM is that you were created for a purpose, and you were created on purpose for that purpose. We believe that. We not only believe it, we're living testimonials of it. And we're here to help serve you in discovering your purpose and fulfilling it and start moving towards it, not only excitedly, but with some urgency and with the assumption that you can do it. There is no reason why you can't do it, and that you matter. You matter. You are important. The world is waiting for you to blossom, to be the best version of you. And we just want to be a part of that and play a role in that. So again, thank you for joining us today. What I get to do is introduce a brother from another mother. When people say that, it's so annoying to me, but I say it too because it's so true, right? Brian B is what we call him, because we kind of tear up his name, usually his last name. So we call him Team Bodie, a leader, extraordinary leader. He's somebody that I fell in love with as a human being. Him and his wife about almost 12 years ago now, maybe even 15 years ago. Time flies by. And his passion, his conviction to want to help people and serve people and empower people and help educate people to overcome their limiting beliefs. And he's got great testimonials of things he's done in his life and helping not only himself and his community, but business owners and things like that. And he's a certified John Maxwell coach. And so, I mean, the list goes on. So with that, Brian, we're talking about decision today, the power of making a decision. So, hey, I know you've got some great wisdom to share. So please, knock us out with some of that Brian Bodenhamer knowledge.
Well, thank you, Bobby. I love being introduced by you because I always feel more elevated than I feel sometimes. So it's an awesome honor. So guys, I want to just talk. We're talking about decisions today. And we've talked about whys and limiting beliefs, and these are all things that stack upon each other to make you more powerful and help you live more intentionally in life. And decisions are a huge part of that. And I've made a lot of decisions. I decided to get married to my second wife, Deb, my true soulmate, and I married up that time, and I truly believe that. And it wasn't my decision, it was hers. And thank God she made that decision to marry me, and I'm better for it. But when it comes to decisions, I do think that that's not the only piece. You got to take action on, and we're going to talk more about that later. But let me talk to you about the decision that I made a few years ago. My wife and I were with a company, and they decided that they were going to do a fit challenge. And we had a picture taken of us that same day that they issued this. And we were like, who are those people? And I know a couple of these guys remember me from back then. And we made a decision that day when they announced what the grand prize was, we were going to get it. It wasn't if, it wasn't hope, it wasn't, I'll try. I mean, we've talked about the 5 levels of commitment. We made a decision that we were going to win that contest. And the fit challenge, it wasn't how much weight you can lose, it's how healthy you can be, demonstrate it. And we just went for it. We got obnoxious. Facebook was kind of new at the time, and we are probably one of the most obnoxious people on Facebook for our fit challenge. We did our food and how we prepared it and what we bought and the exercises we did, sweaty t-shirts, sweaty hats, just pictures of determination. And that was part of our decision because we wanted to be held accountable. Because if you're going to make a decision, you have to be willing to live in that fishbowl. And we really did. I remember during that time, some of the people that were holding me accountable, one sent me a text almost every day, Jim, expecting me to be at the gym. Another person, a friend of mine, had passed away, a friend of ours, and I went out and had a beer with another friend of ours, and I made the comment about that, and she goes, "You're not supposed to have a beer. That's not on your diet." So, without really knowing why I went out to have a beer, but it's a fishbowl, and it's a decision, and live that decision, and take the steps, and it all starts with that. You can't be wishy-washy about it. You can't try. You can't hope. You just got to go out and do it. And that's the power of a decision. So, we'll talk more about the action plans at a later date, and I'm going to keep continuing this story. But I just really love that power. And if you're going to decide, great. If you don't decide, decisions being made for you, whether you know it or not. So go ahead, make that decision, be powerful, live intentionally. And with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Bobby Mitchell, who he is a brother of mine, and I've learned a lot. He's been a mentor and a friend, and he's always been one of those guys that I can count on to tell me the truth, give me some honest feedback, but also do it in a loving way. So Bobby, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Brian B. Man, decisions, the power of decisions. Man, I remember when you and Deb made that decision with the Fit Challenge. You made that decision and communicated that decision with such belief that I believed you were going to win too. And what there's a couple things that I takeaways, just quick nuggets out of what Brian just shared, was the power of making that decision. And it's not about trying and hoping and praying. There's nothing wrong with those things. But really, we can kind of go back into things that we've already done in our lives. If you can kind of rewind and look back into your life where you've done that, you've made a decision. We've all made some decision where we go, okay, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We're going to do it, right? Whatever it is, right? And it's like, okay, I'm going to decide to brush my teeth, right? I know that sounds silly, but you made a decision, right? No matter what obstacles did you have to jump over, the dining table, there was all kind of obstacles. No, you just went in and did it. Now, is life that simple? No. The bigger the goal, the bigger the challenge, the more obstacles typically are going to be, right? Because it's not easy. No one's saying it's easy, but what we realize is that it's simple. There's nothing complicated about achieving success. And Brian and Deb, not only they're going to break down, Brian's going to break down the action plan that he took to win that contest, that obviously will resonate with some of you that are directly wanting to get in shape and be fit, but also it's going to apply to any decisions that you go make. Because one thing about successful principles, they're universal. They're universal. And the other nugget that I got of what Brian shared was the accountability part. That's huge. That was a big breakthrough for me, because being held accountable, sometimes that's an uncomfortable thing, right? And there's a difference between being teachable and coachable, right? I was always a teachable person because I was entrenched to learn. I was teachable, went to school. Most of us are teachable because we've kind of been conditioned to be teachable, sitting in a classroom to have teachers. But coachable is different, right? That's a different game to be coached. And those of you that have been in some sort of athletic field, or maybe even a musical instrument, and you had an instructor that was coaching you, it's a little bit different, right, of coaching, because it's very specific. Do this, don't do that, right? And sometimes that's we get uncomfortable. And being held accountable is a huge, 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 huge step for anybody that wants a breakthrough. So with that, our next family member, our team from Conscious Community Media, is someone that I love and is a mentor to me. He's a brother from another mother also, but he's, my Puerto Rican brother. And he's, what I love about Alex, and those of you who have gotten to know him throughout our community, and you're plugged into it, is that that he's a man of passion. He has a great love for the Lord, and he's been very instrumental in really the concept of reconciliation and I think reconciliation is a powerful word that actually Alex helped me understand more. And then so I want to kind of like, there is a goal that you have or a destiny that you have. And for me, what I realized is if this is my goal, I was off track. And what happens is when you can connect with people like Brian and Alex, I can get reconciliated to, if that's even a word, to my purpose, to my purpose, right? Because I have a purpose and I've realized many people are wandering through life without it. And once you can get connected and reconciliate to your purpose, it's amazing how much passion you can have. So, Alex, please share with us. I know you've got some great wisdom to share and experience from true life experience about decision making. So, thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, hey, thanks, Bobby, for that great introduction. And I'm going to open by saying the same thing Brian said, man. Whenever you introduce me or anybody, it's like we have to rise to the occasion. So thanks. Decisions, we make decisions every day. Last week we started talking about decisions, and somebody grabbed a statistic to say that we make like 35,000 decisions in a day or something like that, which is probably true. Some are big, some are small, some we just do automatically. But the thing about a decision, it's the key to your success. You can deal with limiting beliefs, you can deal with all sorts of things of that nature, but you can't plan to be successful if you've not made a decision. So a decision is the key to your success to do anything that you want to do. Hey, I decide I want to buy this vehicle. So I'm going to start saving some money, whatever it is. I decide I wanted to lose weight, like in Brian's case, which was huge. And I really look forward to hearing that story, Brian. But several things happen when you make a decision. All of a sudden, a decision challenges you to deal with three things: time, relationships, and distractions. Okay. There's a lot of other things, but I'm going to talk about those three today. And down the road, we'll amplify some other ones. So decision causes you to deal with time. Everybody has 24 hours a day, okay? Albert Einstein achieved what he did in 24 hours, right? Kobe Bryant achieved what he did in 24 hours, right? Bill Gates, what they did is they decided to use that 24 hours in a judicious manner to get them to where they wanted to go. So rather than saying, okay, I'm just going to work 6 hours, and then I'm going to have dinner, they're going to sit back and watch TV, then I'm going to whatever. Possibly you need to say, the decision I made is going to cause me to have to work 9 hours, cut TV time, and take that 2 hours of TV time and continue to work towards my goal. It's a decision to manage time. The next thing is relationships. Those of us that are married, we have commitments to our children, to our wives, to friends, even, and if you're involved in extracurricular activities, right? So those relationships may change a little bit with your decision. You may need to go to your spouse and say, hey, I'm going to be doing this. So this evening or for this week, I may not be able to spend as much time with you. Get them to understand why you're now, cutting back your little time with them that you need to. Or you may need to change your schedule in terms of interacting with your children or whatever it may be. That's also time, but it's also relationships, because your decision is going to impact your relationships in a positive manner and possibly in a negative manner. So chart out what that looks like. And again, watch for relationships stopping you from doing what you got to do. And then the last one I want to talk about is distractions. The world today is full of total distractions from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. If you turn on the news, you got a list of distractions that you want to deal with: the politics, the society, the COVID, the racism, right? What it is, it's a mental distraction. And it's not to say that those things that the news are telling you are irrelevant, because they're part of the world in which we live in. But are you then going to distract 30 minutes of your time to start dealing with something that the news said that is beyond your control? That happens to me, that happens to all of us. So once again, avoid distractions that can take you to the left or to the right rather than straight ahead. I always think about distractions and think about the horse, right? The racehorse, that they put those blinders on both sides of their head. Why? To keep them focused straight ahead. So every day I have to do the same thing. Hey, I have an interest in that, but no, I got to keep rolling, okay? It's a distraction. So again, to recap really quick, the three things that a decision causes you to have to deal with is time, relationships, and distractions. So I'll turn it back over to you, Bobby, and I'm excited about sharing that with you, because when the week's coming, we're going to amplify that a little bit and get into an action plan, which is also very important. So thanks again. Back to you, Bobby.
Man, you know, those three things, guys, for those of you that are obviously paying attention, and if you're watching this, however you're watching it, and however you found us, those three nuggets are priceless in my experience of being able to successfully set some goals, um, start like looking at my limiting beliefs and focusing on something and deciding that I wanted to get something done or do something or accomplish something. Those things that you mentioned, time, relationships, and distractions. I mean, how many excuses have I made where I go, I don't have enough time? And what a great tip. We all have 24 hours in a day, right? We all do. And how does somebody else become a multimillionaire in the same 24 hours where someone else is on food stamps and living in poverty, right? Same 24 hours. Well, there is a reason why. And we can play victim and say we grew up in a bad situation but we could say that. But now with really the advent of technology and social media, there's really no more excuses because there's people from every walk of life in horrible, despicable circumstances that we wouldn't even want to wish on anybody. And they've risen out of that and achieved massive success. And I truly believe, and we believe at this community, it's because they got in connection with their purpose. And you know what? The universe doesn't want you to be living paycheck to paycheck, month to month in poverty. That's not what the universe wants. It's just part of a decision of settling for that, of settling and believing that maybe you're not worth more, or for whatever reason you've been conditioned, maybe because of the relationships that you've had. Because by time we're 7 years old, our value system and our belief system is already entrenched in our brains and our psyche and our subconscious. So whatever you think about success, about prosperity, about limiting beliefs, about achievement, about goal setting, about doing chores, about getting good grades, all those things are already, bam, programmed in this software called the human mind by time we're 5, 6, 7 years old. That's what research says, right? So what's great, the great news, the hope is that you can delete files just like on your software and your computer, and you can put in new files. And that's what conscious community media is about. It's about creating more content, more information that can help you achieve not only your purpose, but the calling that you really have, the destiny that is set up for you. So great stuff, Mr. Alex P. As usual, thank you so much. And our last guest today, our last team member, is somebody you've watched through our process. That's he's a team member, but part of us, we're all students, and he's kind of coming along and he's growing into his calling and his purpose. And I'm excited to hear what Duane has to share with you guys regarding decision making for him. So Duane, please, thank you for being here, and please share with our community what decision making has been for you and what it means to you. You're muted.
Thank you, Bobby, for that. Sorry about that. Yeah, to think about how to describe decision in 12 to 10 words less, I would say a principle put in action with no question. And so, life gets in the way sometime. We're going to make a decision when we go out the door. And one of the decisions are really important is within our social settings, because we choose to, when we communicate with others, whatever social group, we may develop characteristics of certain people. Like if I choose to hang out with we choose to hang out with someone that's in real estate. Eventually, we're going to pick up some tricks of the trade to make possibly 3,000 or less. If we choose to hang around with people of negativity, we will more than likely say something bad about someone. And so we really have to watch our decision making. And, sooner or later, it's like within your decision making, you have that desire. Once you have that desire of going after whatever goal, you have to hold on to it, and you have to be determined not to let any obstacle or even distractions get in the way. Um, I made a decision about 2 decades ago. I went after something, particular sports car, and I didn't let nothing get in my way. Matter of fact, the odds were against me, but I had determination, I had that passion, I had that desire, and I went after it, and I succeeded. And it was invigorating. I felt the adrenaline, and it was breathtaking. I was determined, and I conquered. And so it's like when you make that decision, I would say also to add with that, success is to one of the keys to success is being uncomfortable. So you have to make that decision to get uncomfortable to get to where you're going. I mean, you do it when it comes to work. I mean, we've been taught to be, people have been taught to socialize. I mean, I'm sorry, institutionalize, basically go to school, get good grades, get a high school diploma, and that's it. But if you want more, you're going to have to focus with that passion, make that decision, a principle put in action with no question. Thank you. And back to you, Bobby.
A principle put into action with no question, man. That's a nugget. That's a nugget, brother Duane. Drop the nugget. And so many layers of stuff that you heard from everybody. Thank you, Duane. Everybody, you know, we we all have something to share. I can share with you decision making or lack of good decision making, right? Or where I've made a decision and quit, and I've made a decision when I've accomplished. But really, when we're talking about today's topic of making a decision, we're not talking about, I think Duane said it best, it's about a principle put into action with no question. It's put into action. There's got to be an action. You decide and there's action taken. And look for if you're watching this live, there could be already videos. I mean, if you're watching this recorded, there's probably videos in the next segment, because that's what we're going to talk about is the action plan. Because you've got to, with no, the plan with no action is really, right? It's a plan. We got to have an action plan. And everything that any human being has ever achieved, when they made a decision to go achieve it, they put something into action, right? And so we're going to break that down because it's so critical. But here's the point. Without that decision, nothing's really, there's that's the stickiness. We've got to have that stickiness of that decision, because once you've made that decision, there's no turning back. And that's why we've spent time talking about a decision. From every one of my mentors, they've clarified that there is a line when you really decide compared to when you did, you thought you decided. And so here's what I want to leave you with. Number one, I want to thank you for spending time with us and being part of our CCM community. We're appreciated it. And make sure you click on the links below. And if you're here for the first time, click and join us, because we're here to empower each other. We're here to work together as a team, as a community, as a conscious community, that we are purposely, on purpose, seeking and fulfilling our calling that God has for each of us. And you do matter. You have a purpose, whatever that is. And let's not only help you discover it, but let's help you fulfill it. And that's, again, so thanks for being here. The other aspect is this. When you talk about making a decision, these are the three things I want to leave you with, okay? Number one, you've got to get excited about it. And whatever you're deciding to do, you should be excited about that decision. You should, there should be some nervousness about that decision, like excitement. And what I've learned through my career is nervousness, excitement, fear, those are all kind of jumbled together sometimes, right? And if you're uncomfortable about this decision you're making because it's maybe an audacious goal or something like that, it's okay. Don't worry about it, okay? We can always scale it down. We can always figure out the right steps. We can see if it's realistic, if it's really too far-fetched, but don't shrink your dream. Don't shrink down your vision because of for no reason. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that, because that's not why you're here. So whatever that audacious decision that you have and goal that you have, make sure that, write it down, right? And get somewhat excited about it. It should get you excited that if you made this decision to do whatever it is, to lose weight, to make more money, to be a better parent, to be a better son, to be better, whatever it is, whatever that decision is, it should get you excited. And if it doesn't get you excited, then let's regroup. Let's figure it out. Let's go back. Let's talk about our declarations. Let's talk about your purpose. Like, let's go back to some of these earlier topics that we've already hit on. Okay. So number one, be excited about. The second thing is that you've got to assume that the decision that you're making is going to happen. There's got to be an assumption about it. There's got to be a belief level that it can come true, that it's going to happen. And we're going to help you with that. But that's a belief level that you're going to have. We're going to help you develop that assumptiveness. Okay. Very, very important. So you've got to get excited about it. You have an assumptive about it. And then the last thing, which is critical, is there's got to be an urgency about it. There's an urgency about creating and making that decision and getting into action. There's got to be an urgency to getting into that action, because we've got to create something called momentum. And some things take a lot of momentum. Something just takes a little bit of momentum, right? Again, the bigger the goal, the bigger the decision, the bigger the obstacle, the bigger the challenge. Obviously, it's going to take more, higher altitude. We're going to need more fuel, more energy to get up to that level. So remember that. But the key thing is you got to get excited, which you understand. And then we're going to talk about steps on that, because there's ways to what I call hack codes, right? I'm not a programmer or anything, but hack codes, right? Cheat codes on software and stuff like that. I don't like to use the word cheat, but you get the idea. But basically shortcuts. It's not so much of a shortcut, but there's tips on how to be excited about whatever you decide, and then how to get assumptive about it to help you with that, because there are methods on how to do that and help you get into that state. And then the last thing is the urgency, how to develop that urgency, just like Alex talked about earlier about time and the distraction of time. Well, how to maximize your time, how to manage your time, how to create that urgency and maximize the spare time or the little bit of time that you're going to allocate to go after your dreams, to go after your destiny, to go after your purpose. So thanks for joining us today. So we are excited, obviously, about you being part of our community. Make sure you follow us, click on the links on anybody that resonated with you on our team. Their personal links are on there, so you can follow them on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you can find them. And we appreciate Brian and Duane and Alex for being here today. And thank you for another episode. So we leave you with this. Remember, you were created on purpose for a purpose. And let us as a community, as a team, help you fulfill that. Give your very best to the gift of life that you've been given, because you deserve the very best. So you give your best and you deserve the best. So with that, take care. And we're signing off for another fantastic episode of Breakthrough to Break Free. Take care, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.